Okay, good morning, everyone. Well, we have a deep chapter today, an epic chapter involving travels down to South America and facing the fear of death, comparison and self-doubt, the core fear, what if I am the ego? And jealousy and possession, which is all about ownership. So really, ownership, there's a section in here called Ownership is Identity Confusion. So it's one of those chapters of just facing the darkness, facing the ego identity, and letting it come up for healing. So, we ready? Yeah. We'll just pause for a moment, just settle in, and then begin with chapter 14. Okay. Chapter 14. Death, Doubts, and a Big Green Monster. Fall 2005. And we start with a quote from the Course. If you knew who walks beside you on the way that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. Fear of death. Until we were sitting on the plane, I had not had any fear thoughts about going to Colombia, South America. But out of nowhere, I began thinking about being kidnapped and decapitated. I felt awful. I kept turning to the spirit, but the thoughts continued. As I turned pale, David asked me if I was okay. I shared my thoughts of being decapitated, and he held my hand, assuring me that this was not the spirit's plan. But fear of death continued to arise in my mind, and I prayed and hoped it would go away. Now, because the world outpictures what is believed, I was also afraid that I might draw the experience to myself, as I have a powerful mind. This awareness added to the pressure of wanting my thoughts to be healed quickly. A few hours and 2 flight stops later, we were sitting in the transit lounge in Cartagena, awaiting our flight to Cali. Tears were falling down my cheeks as the fear was not subsiding. I felt that I was running out of time. An idea flashed through my mind. I said to the spirit, okay, if I have to experience decapitation, or I have to see it with my own eyes. Can it please be on television? Because I really don't want this body to have to go through that experience. It feels too extreme. Turning to David for a hug, I cried for a moment. And when I looked up, I noticed a small television on the wall in front of me. A movie I'd not seen before was playing, in which Kim Basinger was trying to protect a young girl who had supernatural powers. As I watched, I couldn't believe my eyes. The young girl was chased into a subway station by a gang of attackers, and as Kim arrived at the station, she found the girl propped up against a wall. As she touched her shoulder gently and asked if she was okay, the girl's head rolled off. I was shocked. Caught up in the movie, my first response was upset and projection. How could they be showing this movie in an airport lounge? There are kids here, I said to David. He looked at me with his big blue eyes and said, "It's all for you, Kirsten." It started to sink in that this movie was my prayer being answered. Taking this flight and stopping in this very airport lounge at this exact time truly was all for me. Everything in the world was here to support my awakening. Yet again, I was blown away by the Spirit's amazing plan for the healing of my mind. Oh, thank you, Spirit. Crying tears of gratitude and joy, I gave David a huge hug. It felt so deep and profound. Arriving in Cali, I was enveloped in so much love by our beloved Colombian Course in Miracles friends that any tiny doubts and fears I'd had of being harmed were amazing, hey? Just blows me away sometimes, just how loving the Spirit's plan is. Just comparison and self-doubt. We stayed with Lily, a vibrant and attractive young woman living with her serene teenage daughter. Lily lived day to day, barely able to cover her living expenses. When her course group were considering venues for our month of evening gatherings, it was decided that her central city apartment was the most convenient. Lily was thrilled to host us for the month in Colombia. Being around Lily, a free spirit who laughs, loves, and lives with abandon, was stirring up all kinds of feelings within me, from inspiration and delight to comparison and self-doubt. Deep within my heart, I desired to be truly free and to live without fear of consequences. Simply being around Lily showed me, by comparison, how limited and controlled my thinking was. David was also inspired by Lily's free-spirited nature, and it wasn't long before I sank into deep realms of healing around jealousy and possessiveness. Lily and the ring. Lily's mother came to visit us. Noticing David's ring, she began asking him about relationships. David told her that his ring was a symbol of union with God. This was true, and I sat in agreement. He slipped the ring off his finger and happily waved it around, saying, "A ring has no beginning and no end. It's a symbol of marriage, of union. The ring itself isn't important." He extended the ring to Lily, saying, "I could give it to you." He extended it to Lily's mother, saying, "Or to you." He went on to explain, it's not a symbol of a marriage to a person. It's a symbol of marriage to God, a symbol of marriage to divine love. It's one thing to talk about a wedding ring being a symbol of marriage to God, but when David offered the ring to the others, I felt a contraction in my stomach. It was like a big, dark, empty hole. Fear thoughts sprang up. How could he say that? And I could tell that he meant it. And yet, we had such a deep commitment. I knew David loved me. My mind was scrambling for safety, trying to convince myself that he wouldn't really give the ring to someone else. Surely he wouldn't do it without talking it through with me first. I assured myself that no one would actually take the ring, knowing that David was married to and traveling with me. But beneath these justifying and self-protective thoughts, I knew the truth of the matter. David could give the ring away, joyfully. His commitment to the Spirit's plan of awakening was above and beyond a commitment to anything in this world, including me. He was totally unattached to a ring and to the notion that it somehow bound us together. I had no choice but to redirect my desire for safety to Jesus. Losing my grip. The bottom was dropping out of my world. I had never been in a relationship where the other person wasn't trying to keep me and wasn't afraid of losing me, wasn't on some level trying to reassure me that I was special. Now I was experiencing that not only was I not special, but that everything that was mine could be offered to someone else. It struck me down to the core of the self who had worked hard, who had put in the effort to achieve something, a position, safety, some kind of security. It all meant nothing to the Spirit. I felt as though my life was being offered to another on a silver platter. Until I'd come to Colombia, I had no idea that I was attached to David and was invested in my life with him. Now it was glaringly obvious that I was suffering from both. Feeling the ugliness of competition with Lily, I was unable to welcome her in my heart or support her in loosening from a life she felt trapped in. In this state of mind, I was unable to connect with David either. Walking in the streets of Kali, I played Return to Innocence by Enigma over and over and allowed the intensity to move through and the tears to fall. After a while, I found myself in a small park where there were people living on park benches, sharing all that they had. My thoughts subsided as I realized I was being shown something. Somehow a crack opened in my mind and the light began to shine through. I saw the defensive thoughts. Now that I've pulled away, I could protect myself further from David by staying away. I should stay away for hours so that he would know how hurt I am. But the ego's grip was loosening. The light grew stronger until I felt grateful. Smaller waves of doubt arose, tempting me to maintain a sense of separation. But feeling a strong prompt to return to the apartment, I left the park. Feeling guilty for pulling away, I walked in the apartment door to a warm invitation from David and Lily to watch 50 First Dates, which is about having the past wiped away and falling in love for the first time every day. What if I am the ego? Journaling, Kirsten. Good morning, Holy Spirit. I'm still having many thoughts coming up about being replaced and possessiveness about my role and relationship with David. Please help. Holy Spirit, either your heart is in it or it's not. Kirsten, right now it's not. Pause for a minute. Okay, looks like we're back. It's like the break in trust being reflected in the break in the internet. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, where were we? I'm afraid that David will drop me. Surely he will if he discovers that I am the ego. Only the ego can feel jealous and resentful. I'm not the presence of love. I feel so torn right now. Holy Spirit, what do you want? Kirsten, the peace of God and another life. Holy Spirit, herein lies the problem. You cannot have two worlds. Kirsten, tell me about my relationship with David. Holy Spirit, you asked for a holy relationship. You prayed for the peace of God. You desired a whole and healed mind. In answer to this, you've been given one who is very advanced and can help you on your way. Your relationship is not of this world. When you compare it or make it different than what it is, the result is conflict and confusion. Kirsten, I sigh with relief. Thank you. And the jealousy? Holy Spirit, the same. You know in your heart that you share the same purpose, that you cannot own, possess, or limit love. It is only when you try that you end up feeling hurt by your thoughts.